Another process by which this water intake takes place is by imbibation. Now, when you soak the seed in water for about 10 to 12 hours or maybe overnight, the seeds generally swell up. This is due to the absorption of water from the surrounding. Another important process is the transpiration pull. As the name suggests, the pull, or you can see the movement, that is aided by the process called as transpiration. Now, what happens during summer days? There is excessive heat. Now, the plants, they generally lose water by the process of evaporation. And due to the continuous loss of water by the process of evaporation or transpiration, there is a vacuum that is created inside the xylem vessels. And to fill up this vacuum, the water is now absorbed from the soil. And to combat this negative pressure, the water is taken up from the soil. This is called as the transpiration pull. Now, we have two main types of conducting vessels required for the transport of food and water inside the plants. These are called as the xylem and the phloem vessels. We will be looking about the differences in both the xylem and phloem in their structures and functions as well. Now, looking at the structure of the xylem, it has a tubular shape and it lacks the end wall. Here you can see the structure. It is having a tube-like shape and it is not having any end walls. On the opposite, the phloem, it is having a perforated end walls present in it. Now, the placement of the xylem vessels is mainly in the center of the vascular bundles, while the phloem are generally placed at the outer side of the vascular bundles. Okay, as you can see inside this diagram, the xylem allows only unidirectional movement. You can see the arrows that are pointing only in single direction, while the phloem shows bidirectional movement. You can see both the arrows going forward and backward. Now, the xylem is involved in the transport of water and minerals from the roots to leaves and stems, while the transport of food and amino acids basically takes place with the help of phloem tissues. Now, the components of xylem vessels are trachees, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers, while the phloem consists of sieve elements, companion cells and phloem fibers. These were the difference between the xylem and phloem. The xylem is mainly involved in the conduction of water and minerals, while the phloem is involved in the conduction of food and amino acids. Now, the transport of food within the plant is called as the translocation. Okay, and the main food that is mainly transported by the plant is sucrose. Okay, and also the conducting vessel is the phloem. Now, not only sucrose, another important food that is transported is in the form of amino acids. Now, the pressure that is involved in this transfer of sucrose and amino acids is a positive hydrostatic pressure. And this process is called as the phloem loading and phloem unloading. The ATP is required for the process of translocation. Now, when this translocation or the movement of food has to take place, the high energy bond of ATP is broken down. The energy that is released is utilized for this movement of food. Now, the osmotic pressure inside the cells having sucrose or the food generally increases, and the water then moves to the low pressure areas. Now, The movement of water inside the low pressure area finally allows the movement of sucrose. Now, in this way, the food is transported. Now, the movement also takes place according to the need of the plant. Suppose the food is synthesized inside the leaf and there is a bud which wants to grow into a flower. So, for the growing of bud into the flower, energy is required, food is required. So, the sucrose will move towards this bud so that it can grow into a flower. So, this movement of food depends upon the energy required. The place where the more energy is required or the growth and development of the plant has to take place, this food will definitely go towards that particular region of the plant. Now, we'll be learning about the last important life processes, that is the excretion. How we will define the excretion? It is the process of removal of waste products outside the body. Now, the waste products can be of different types. These are mainly urea, uric acid and ammonia. The ammonia is the most harmful excretory waste. Next, we have urea and the least harmful excretory waste is the uric acid. The organisms are also classified on the basis of these excretory products. Like the humans are generally called as the ureotelic. The birds and mammals are called as the uricotelic, while the aquatic animals are called as the ammonotelic organisms. The excretory products need to be removed outside the body. So, there must be certain organs that are involved in this process of excretion. We'll learn about them. Now, cockroaches have developed malpighian tubules for this purpose. Earthworms have nephridia. Now, flatworms have flame cells present in them. Now, the humans have the kidney. A pair of kidneys are the main excretory organs present inside the humans. Now, we humans have a very well developed excretory system. We have 4 main important organs. This is the structure of the kidney. Now, kidney is basically a bean shaped organ and it is having length of 12 centimeters and around 5 to 7 centimeter in breadth. Now, the kidney is basically protected by the ribs, and when you will look at the internal structure of the kidney, it is made up of 2 important parts. It is called as the adrenal medulla and adrenal cortex. Now, the outer part are called as the adrenal cortex, while the inner part of the internal structure of kidney are called as the adrenal medulla. The main structural and functional unit of kidneys are the nephrons. One kidney contains about millions of filtering units called as the nephrons. This is the basic structure of a single nephron. You can see we have the afferent arteriole, efferent arteriole. This afferent arteriole brings the blood from different parts of the body inside this nephron. Now, this is the cup-shaped structure called as the Bowman's capsule. Inside the Bowman's capsule, there is a tuft of capillaries present that are called as the glomerulus. Okay. Now, you can see there is a network of tubes. The tube that is near to this Bowman's capsule is called as the proximal convoluted tubule, while the tube that is a bit far away from this is called as distal, means far. So, this far away tube is called as the distal convoluted tubule. Again, we have this loop called as the loop of Henle. It has 2 limbs, the descending limb and the ascending limb. You can see this limb, it is descending, means going out in the downward direction. This is called as the descending loop of Henle. while the second limb that generally moves upward is called as the ascending loop of Henle. Now these loops, these capillary tufts all have certain important functions. We'll study about them.